What's up, y'all? It's your boy CloudzReacts. I know I look a little different here. You know what I'm saying? Got the braids going on. Give you a little sneak peek. Yeah, I know I look ugly. Anyway, we got the 8 biggest plot holes in Family Guy by what they deserve. I was saying shout out to the channel. I'm going to put the channel in the description. Let's get into it, bro. I know y'all see me in a minute. Also, got the snacks. That's also, you know what I'm saying? You know we always drinking something or eating something in the video. You know what I'm saying? We always drinking or eating something in the video. Don't matter what we doing. We always eating or drinking something in the video, bro. So we just gonna get into it.
These are 8 mind-blowing plot holes in Family Guy. We start off with the Q-Man himself. Glenn Quagmire's age has always been inconsistent throughout the show. In the episode Underage Peter, we see Glenn's age come into focus yet again. As you already know, he is the oldest guy in the group.
Wait a second, you were born in 1948?
Real quick, these are late night loaded tacos. Doritos. Never had these. I had this before, like I said, I had this. But I never had these chips, though. Let's get into the video.
Yeah.
You're 61 years old?
Yes, sir.
Wow, 61 and still rolling out like a man in his 20s. Anyway, at that age, you would think Quagmire wouldn't have a problem with the new drinking laws in the episode. The episode starts off with the guys daring Peter to do weird stuff for $10. He drinks hot sauce, wears his pants for several days without changing,
I got one. I'll give you $10 if you wear the same pair of underwear for a month.
Pay up.
and perhaps the most stupid one is what Joe gets him to do.
Of course I do.
Great, I got a hilarious one. I'll give you $10 for your L4 vertebrae.
So,
No wonder Peter is clinically stupid. The guys continue drinking, and somehow we see Joe back in his wheelchair. Reverse surgery was done? The dares continue getting thrown at Peter. This time, they want him to drink water from an open fire hydrant. What can possibly go wrong?
I think this is how Anna Nicole Smith died.
holy crap, we gotta get out of here.
As expected, everything goes wrong. Peter ends up causing significant damage to the town's library. The chain of events leads to the mayor making radical legal changes whose consequences will be dire, especially for alcoholics.
So as mayor of Quahog, I hereby raise the town's legal drinking age to 50.
What? I can't drink anymore? What am I gonna do? What do people do who don't drink?
I don't know, knit?
Knit? Knit? Are you kidding me? Maybe.
Peter is underage. Quagmire, who, as we know, is 61, shouldn't be affected by this law. There are even more questions to the plot as we see the guys go to great lengths just to get a leap. They first try breaking into the Pawtucket Brewery, which fails.
Hey, buddy. It's okay. I work here.
Aren't you the guy who cried in that meeting?
You know, I just remembered there's no beer here. Let's just go.
Peter then suggests that they go to jail because prisoners make wine in the toilet. That plan also fails. At this point, you might think, why is Glenn going through all of this when he can just buy alcohol? Anyways, the guys resort to leaving Quahog in search of alcohol in the next town. While this new town doesn't have age restrictions, a bizarre law still prevents the guys from getting some liquor.
Sorry, in this town you can only buy alcohol if you're dressed head to toe in jeans.
What? Who made that law?
Our mayor, Jay Leno.
Have you seen some of these laws they've got now about denim?
Dejected and unable to get drunk, the guys are back at the Clam where they are surprised to see Brian drinking. It's weird because Brian is not 50, or is he?
Yeah, you're not 50.
Actually I am. I'm 56 in dog years.
Oh, is that why you got white pubic hair?
I'll thank you not to check out my pubic hair.
And that brings us back to the plot hole in question. Why is Quagmire not drinking when he's 61? What logical reason does he have? Or maybe he considers the group his best friends and doesn't want to drink without them. If Glenn Quagmire's age was confusing, wait till you try nailing Brian Griffin's origin. There's more than one version of how the self-proclaimed author ended up in the family. The first version is in the episode Portrait of a Dog in Season 1. Peter's having an argument with Brian and wants him to act like a dog. This is so that they can win the dog show and get the $500 they need to buy a new air conditioner. While trying to explain himself, Peter lets out a secret that Brian doesn't want anybody else to know.
Jeez, get over it, Brian. I mean, how bad do you really have it here? When I found you, you were nothing but a stray.
You swore you would never speak of that.
Turns out, Brian was a stray dog before Peter brought him home. We see him on the streets where he's desperate and ragged up, ready to do anything for food. This desperation makes him wash Peter's car despite him insisting he doesn't need it because he just had it cleaned. Realizing that he doesn't have any change to pay Brian, he suggests another way to compensate him.
You hungry? Because, my wife makes us beefaroni casserole out of this world.
From this episode, we are told that Peter adopted Brian as an adult living on the streets. However, things get a little bit confusing in the episode The Man with Two Brians, where we get yet another version of Brian's origin. Peter, worried that Brian is getting old and might die soon, brings in another dog to help ease the burden in case something happens to Brian. Sounds well thought out, right? Obviously, Brian is not on board with the idea.
I can't believe you got a new dog. What about me?
Hey, you're still my buddy. New Brian is just a new friend for the family.
While Brian struggles with the idea of having a new dog around, he finds himself backed in a corner with no one on his side. Looks like the new dog is everyone's favorite, and Stewie reminds Brian of exactly what is happening.
He's not just a delightful new friend for the family. He's your replacement. Oh, come on, that's ridiculous. You're getting old, Brian, and they know it. You're no longer the cover girl.
He starts off with Chris, who is in his handling business. And by handling, I mean literally taking things by hand. Brian tries making small talk that fails terribly. He soon realizes what we've been suspecting.
You were masturbating when I came in.
I knew it! Look, well, first of all, look where his hand's at. Look what's next to him.
Yeah. How's it hang?
Get out!
Gotcha.
Well, that went well. Brian thinks of another...
Also, these chips are good. I recommend it. I don't know if I can see it, but I recommend these for sure. These are good. It's not bad.
way to remind the Griffins how much they value him. This time, he plays home movies from when he was a puppy.
Okay, everybody, tonight I've got a real treat for you.
We've all seen your compilation video, Brian.
From the clip, we can see Brian as a puppy and probably grew up in the Griffin family. This directly contradicts the earlier narrative that he was picked up from the streets as an adult. Still on Brian's origin, we get yet another different version in the episode, Who's Brian Now?, where Brian reunites with his original family. It all starts when Brian passes out due to excessive drinking, as expected, and he wakes up in a pound. To return him home, the pound establishes that Brian has a microchip that reveals his original owners, the Hendersons.
Chipped?
Yep, so you can go back to your owners, the Hendersons of Bristol County.
What?
So, it turns out Brian belonged to the Hendersons before he ended up with the Griffins. Those are 3 different origins. And talking of origins, Peter's family lineage is another glaring plot hole in Family Guy. Peter's father is an old man named Francis Griffin. Peter even confesses he loves him at some point.
I've never met such an infuriating man. You must have the patience of a saint.
Well, he's my dad. I just want him to love me.
Peter, how could you say such a thing?
However, later on in the episode, Peter's 2 dads, another version of events unfolds. Peter is throwing Meg a birthday party that, as expected, ends in disaster. He ends up falling on his dad and critically injuring him while trying to be the party clown.
Is he breathing? Somebody call an ambulance!
Lois, maybe you better call 2 ambulances.
Francis, now on his deathbed, has a few last words for his son, Peter.
Peter, you're a fat, stinking drunk.
Oh my God, he's dead. He can't be dead.
Peter is disturbed by his father's last words and vows to make drastic changes. He decides that he will not take a single drop of alcohol again. Come on, Peter. We all know that's a lie. Turns out, he wants to replace alcohol with crack.
What the
I thought, first of all, I thought that was a bomb. I thought he was just, you know what I'm saying, laying back. But that's a whole crack pipe. I don't know what a crack pipe look like, so.
At least I'm not drinking, Brian.
Yeah, this isn't exactly a good substitute. Where'd you get crack?
Brian then recommends his personal hypnotist in hopes that he would help Peter overcome his childhood traumas. It's during a therapy session that Peter realizes Francis isn't his real father.
Danny. Happy Father's Day, Dad!
I'm not your father.
This leaves him questioning his identity and decides to find out the answers from his mother.
About 40 years ago, I was vacationing in Ireland, and I met a young rogue named Mickey McFinnigan. Peter, Mickey is your real father.
Oh my God! I gotta find him!
Turns out Peter's real father is an Irish guy named Mickey McFinnigan, someone his mother had a brief fling with. A quick look at Mickey and you...
Makes sense a little bit. I mean, his hair's not orange, but it's like, kinda.
Get why he has to be Peter's dad. First of all, the resemblance is uncanny, and his drinking is off the charts.
Whoa! I don't know exactly where the county Cork is, but I know where it should be!
You can tell exactly where Peter got his mannerisms. However, there are numerous times this theory is distorted in the show. For instance, in the episode Husband, Father, Brother, Peter talks about having African American roots.
1840, Nathaniel Nate Griffin used to groom horses. What the hell? Holy crap, I'm black!
Nate Griffin has been revisited a few times in the show, and it gives a whole new perspective on Peter's origin. So, if Nate Griffin is black, how come he has the Griffin name, yet he isn't related to Francis? To make it even more confusing, we find out later that Peter has a sister called Karen. Who's Karen's father? Time to talk about the mystery child of Quahog. Who actually understands Stewie when he talks? Because apparently the answer is... whoever the writers feel like that week.
I say, am I to spend the entire day wallowing around in my own feces? A little service here.
Hey, Stinky, have we got some big plans for you?
Plans? What the devil are you talking about?
It's your birthday, dude!
Let's start with the basics. For most of the show, Lois and Peter can hear Stewie.
See, how it really goes is, I'm pretty sure, like, hold on, I don't have my sentences put together yet. I'm pretty sure, like, whenever, I'm pretty sure, like, 90% of the time, it's always, excuse me, it's always Brian. 90% of the time, it's always Brian that, like, not even 100% of the time, it's always Brian that can hear, because, like, them two talk a lot, and, like, he can always hear, but, like, they don't really get to hear him as much.
But act like they can't understand him. The guy literally builds time machines and plots assassinations in perfect Queen's English, and Lois still hands him a pacifier like he just said Gaga.
You count to 3? Oh, indeed I can. 1, 2, 3!
But then you have episodes like Road to Rhode Island, where Stewie interacts with other adults and they can understand him just fine.
Aren't you a little young to be traveling alone? Aren't you a little old to be wearing braces?
Ouch. That must have hurt his feelings. It looks like Stewie doesn't like getting disturbed while flying because he rails into another female adult.
Mind if we switch seats so my family can sit all together?
No, we don't.
Because when we booked, they didn't have 3 together.
Ma'am, your poor planning does not constitute an emergency for me. You'll see him in Paris. Go sit down.
She understands him. And then there's Brian, the only character who consistently understands Stewie. In Lego My Mego, Brian and Stewie go to Europe to rescue Meg from human traffickers, and guess what? The criminals not only hear him, they understand him.
Hey, where's my sister?
She's probably having her shish kebabbed as we speak. I heard that from Samantha in Sex and the City too.
I haven't seen it yet.
That doesn't hurt this story.
And let us not forget the episode Stewie Loves Lois, where Stewie goes through a whole emotional roller coaster begging for Lois's love in plain English in front of her. He says, "I love you," a couple of times, and Lois responds with nothing.
Love you, Lois. You know that, right? Just in case, I'll say it again. I love you.
Oh, you are just so cute, sweetie. Look at that little foot.
Either she's emotionally dead inside, or she's deaf to British babies with mommy issues. But just to really mess with you, in the episode Untitled Griffin Family History, Peter has to share a secret with the family. He says that he did not care for The Godfather, a movie that many regard as the best of all time. This, of course, raises an argument, and everyone is keen to make their point.
No, I can't even get through. I can't even finish the movie. I've never even seen the ending.
You've never seen the ending?
Well, how can you say you don't like it if you haven't even given it a chance?
I agree with Stewie. It's not really fair.
So how come Lois understands and agrees with Stewie now? Speaking of things that make no sense, let's talk about a baby who literally vanished like he was never born. We're talking about Carol's baby. Yes, Lois's sister, Carol. You remember.
I mean, we think about it. Carol didn't really show up in a lot of scenes, or like a lot of the seasons, and what not. But like at the end of the day, like we didn't really need to see her baby like grow up or like be like a baby, just like Joe's baby and Stewie and stuff. We didn't really need to see that because like she was like a one-time character, not one time, but like a here and there character. But she don't need a whole backstory for her life and stuff like that.
Her, right? She pops in now and then to cry about some guy breaking her heart, and well, rinse and repeat.
And as soon as the baby can crawl, it'll probably leave me too, just like my 8 husbands.
Listen, I came back because I love you, and, I'm just kidding. It's me, Peter.
She's probably used to it at this point. But one time, she showed up pregnant, and that storyline gave us one of the most random disappearing acts Family Guy has ever pulled. It all begins in the episode Mission Impossible. Lois gets a call that her sister Carol has been left by her husband, and she's about to give birth. Yep, Carol delivers a baby boy.
Baby girl, I'm so happy.
But she has a penis. Well, we'll have to do something about that.
Peter, no, it's a boy.
Don't get too attached, because this kid, we never see him again, ever. Carol takes a long sabbatical and then waltzes back into the show like nothing happened. This time, she appears in the episode Brothers and Sisters, where she moves in with the Griffins for a bit.
Carol, how the hell are you?
Not too good. Jason left me. It's gonna be my 9th divorce.
Wow, it's like she's addicted to divorce at this point. She winds up at the Griffins and
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. After 4 divorces, dog, give it up. Give it up at this point, bro. You're never gonna find love. You're just not. You're not meant for it, bro. Take a seat on the bench with the rest, dog. Take a seat. I got a seat right here. Take a seat right here with me on the bench, bro. It's love is just not for us. You had how many divorces, bro? Like, bro, nobody. I hope nobody on this world is at that type of like divorce number. Like, cause if they need to reviolate their life, bro. Cause that many divorces, dog, in one life, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot, bro. Like, and how, bro? Why you even getting in these marriages so easily? Like, you falling for them that quick? I mean, I feel like you at least need to be their girlfriend. You at least need to be their girlfriend / boyfriend. At least for like, for me, I think at least 10+ years. After that, we can get married or whatever. Cause you gotta understand, we're putting this on papers. You know what I'm saying? This gonna be, you have my last name, I have yours. No, you know what I'm saying? This gonna be on papers, bro. We ain't got time to play, bro. This going through the courtroom and stuff. We don't got time to play, bro. So if you're gonna sign this paper, you gotta be for real. So that's what I'm saying. Like 10 years. If you know what I'm saying, if they short 10 years back, boom, then we can move up to marriage. After, I don't know. I just feel like that's how it should go, bro.
Guess who's mysteriously missing? Yup, the baby. Not a diaper in sight, not a cry in the background, nothing. She actually finds love in the weirdest place possible. She ends up falling for none other than Mayor Adam West. Yeah, the guy who thinks everything is a conspiracy and once married a piece of sidewalk.
You gonna introduce me to your handsome friend?
Handsome? Wow!
Carol, this is our town's mayor, Adam West. Mayor West, this is my sister, Carol.
The two end up getting married, and it's a huge wedding. Big moment, Lois is there, Peter is there, Adam West is looking sharp in a white tuxedo. But again, where's the baby? And speaking of disappearing children, in the episode The Former Life of Brian, we find Brian doing what Brian does best, and that's failing miserably at love.
How about we go on an actual date? Uh-huh. Sounds great. Well, guess who has a date on Saturday? Not me.
He's bumping around telling Stewie how he might never meet the one, despite already dating.
Excuse my language, but Brian, you're a dick. You are. I not seen you went after Lois. I not seen you went after Bonnie. I not seen you went after who else? Quagmire dad. Like, bro, I not seen you went after a bunch of people, dog. y'all not so you went after Meg's friend, the girl, the ponytail. I not see Patty. I not see you go after her, bro. And she at least a 4 out of, you know what I'm saying, 10, maybe 5 out of 10 on a good day. But bro, come on. You just a dick, bro. You mess around with everybody, you know what I'm saying? You over here messing with people's wives and stuff. That, bro, you just a dick. That's why I'm glad you can't find love, bro, because you need to revive it. You need to do a life for 360 and turn it around, bro.
Eating every breathing female species in Quahog. But then Brian remembers someone special.
Tracy Flanagan. She was the greatest girl I ever met, and I blew it.
So, he decides to find her again. Romantic, right? When he finally sees Tracy, let's just say she's not how he remembered. The years have not been kind. He tries to bail, and just as he's inching towards the door, Tracy drops a nuclear bomb.
Brian, this is Dylan. He's your son.
Let's just pause there for a...
You gonna fall for that, bro? If that was really your son, you know how much time she would have emailed you, called you, or like tried to get out to you somewhere, somehow? Back then, bro, come on, that's not your son. She obviously tricking you, bro. That's not your son.
Brian, a talking dog, is the biological father of a human teenage boy? Did we miss a lecture on cross-species genetics? Anyway, Brian freaks out and gets back to the Griffin house. But Tracy is not done. She sends Dylan to Brian with a note that says,
To Brian from Tracy. He's your problem now.
And that's Parenting 101. The Family Guy way. Now, Dylan is living at the Griffin house, and naturally chaos follows. He's rude, loud, and makes Peter look like a model citizen. Brian can't stand him. But somehow, the two bond over, wait for it, weed.
Get out of this house.
Fine, I hate it here anyhow. Get out of my way. My pot! Your pot?
Nothing says wholesome father-son bonding like lighting one up in the living room. Dylan softens up, Brian grows a heart, and before we know it, they actually like each other. So, they manage to work their issues out, and Brian actually manages to turn Dylan into a decent kid. But the elephant in the room? Stewie asks the one question that's been bugging all of us.
Say, Brian, now that I think about it, how can you possibly have a 13-year-old son when you yourself are only 7?
Well, those are dog years.
That doesn't make any sense.
You know what, Stewie? If you don't like it, go on the internet and complain.
Let's break it down even further. Ryan, a dog, fathered a human child, who somehow aged faster than his own father, who is still a dog. We head straight into another family history. You would assume Meg, Chris, and Stewie all came into this world through the same parents, but Family Guy, being Family Guy, had other plans.
Lois, let's have another baby.
What? Sweetie, you're not serious.
I sure am. The best thing I've ever done with my life is being a dad.
Oh, Peter, I think it's a wonderful idea.
Let's start with Stewie. Arguably the easiest one to track down, because we literally see him being born. Sort of. In the episode Yug Ilamoth, time gets...
Even though we know he's, you know what I'm saying, we know that's Peter's kid for sure. Stewie got every bit of Peter in him, bro. We know that's his kid. The thing is, we don't know it's Chris's kid. Now, Meg, I want to say Meg adopted. I want to say Meg adopted. Maybe Chris and Meg are adopted. I don't know. I want to say they are not, because Meg got her dad here, Burnett. But like, wouldn't it like be like a little tints of orange too, a little, since Lois the ginger? I'm just saying it'll be like a little tints of like orange-ish. I don't know.
Flipped backwards, and we end up witnessing Stewie's birth, which, while weird, at least confirms Lois is his mom.
Brian, hurry!
Yeah! It's a girl!
But then comes the mystery of who Stewie's dad really is. In Season 9's And I'm Joyce Kinney, Lois reveals she once starred in an adult film back in college. And one of the actors in it, well, let's just say he has the same oddly shaped head as Stewie.
Oh, look at that. See, now I'm really starting to get suspicious.
Somebody order a pizza?
It gets even more confusing because that tape was made in college, so unless this guy's DNA somehow did a delayed drop-off into the Griffin household, he's probably not Stewie's father. Or At least let's hope not. That idea gets thrown out even further in Mission Impossible, when Stewie takes a field trip into Peter's baby-making machinery and meets a possible future sibling.
You came unarmed?
As we agreed.
Admirable. I dare say I should embrace the idea of having a little brother. After all, it's obvious we'd make quite a formidable team.
Also cements that terrifying football-shaped head as 100% Griffin-made. Now let's talk about Meg. We do know that Lois gave birth to her. That part is clear in the episode A Fistful of Meg.
Peter, would you give this to the nurse?
Uh-huh.
So that Megatron.
Peter as the father, not as solid as you would think. In the episode Screwed the Pooch, Brian casually mentions that Meg's biological dad is actually someone named Stan Thompson.
And Stewie's favorite bedtime story is
Goodnight Moon.
And Meg's real father's name is
Stan Thompson.
So now Meg has abandonment and identity issues. Anyway, moving on to the fattest kid in the family, Lois gave birth to Chris. In one episode, Lois says Chris was so big, he rearranged her internal organs.
To feel bad, but after he was born, they had to rearrange most of my organs.
Oh yeah, he dragged half of Lois right out with him.
Yeah, the doctor said I'll be lucky if I live past 50,
But despite all of that, even Chris's paternity is called into question. In season 17, Lois casually drops a line saying Chris might not be Peter's son because she once hooked up with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Meeting.
Cheetah, there's something you don't know. Chris might not even be your son.
What?
I once slept with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
You what?
And just when he thought it couldn't get any more bizarre, there's the whole adoption theory. In one episode, Peter finds a gun hidden next to something.
Good for Lois. Guns are a major problem, especially in the hands of someone like...
Was in a box with Chris's adoption papers. Oh, you heard nothing.
Then season 19, where Lois takes things a step further by saying they actually stole Chris from a foreign family.
Yeah, sort of like Chris doesn't remember we stole him from a Dutch family.
What's this now?
We hebben het later over.
Robert, right? Ja, werk je tegen me zegt.
So Stewie is probably Peter's, Meg is technically Lois's, but her real dad might be some guy named Stan, and Chris, well, he might be adopted. The Griffin kids all share one important thing in common. They're stuck with that family. You would hope the family tree starts making a little more sense the higher you go. In the episode Welcome Back, Carter, we get a rare glimpse into how Barbara and Carter Pewterschmidt met. The flashback is charming enough, until you realize Carter is wooing Barbara with the song Jeepers Creepers, a tune that dropped in 1938.
The mixtape.
Babs, you want to spend a mind-blowing afternoon? Get stoned and listen to this song.
Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers?
Now, either Carter was really ahead of his time with his Spotify playlist, or this is a full-on historical timestamp. Assuming they were both about 18 during that musical meet cute, that would make them roughly 90 years old by the time the episode aired in 2010. So that means Lois was born when they were around 50. Not impossible, but let's just say that is more miracle science than standard parenting timeline. And yet...
They look good for being 90. They look hella good for being... They look like they damn near 60 years old. They look good for being 90, bro. Especially Pewterschmidt, bro. Like, look at him, bro. He don't even look old at all, bro. I mean, he look old, but he don't look his age, though.
Neither Barbara nor Carter really looks, acts, or even complains like your typical 90-year-olds. Just petty rich people problems and the occasional wild endeavor.
Oh, no, this is my sister. Ew! No, I'm impotent. Ew! I mean, she looked at me while I did it to myself. Ew! I mean, she's a man.
You would think with that age, the biggest threat to Carter would be forgetting where he put his teeth, not having an affair on his yacht. And there you have it. 8 plot holes big enough for Meg to hide her social life in. Whether it's disappearing babies, ageless parents, or a dog with a teenage son, Family Guy keeps logic on life support. But let's be honest.
Like I said, just like me. Y'all have a good day, you know what I'm saying? Or good night, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, we out. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.